Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our discussion this morning. We are now in lesson 10. Our topic this morning is all about global media cultures. Now, do you watch anime or K-pop? Okay, what is your reason why you watch this or why you patronize this foreign artist? For example, K-pop, the BTS or the Blackpink. Why do you watch them? Why you support them? On the other hand, why do you watch an anime? What is your favorite anime? Okay, you can write your answer in the comment section or in the chat room. I will leave that question to you. Now, this morning, or this picture has a connection with our topic this morning that talks about the global media cultures. So let's start with homogeneity in culture. So in culture, it is often linked to cultural imperialism. So this means a given culture influence other culture. So means that there is a superior culture tried to influence the inferior culture. Means because of this a big nation, for example, because of its influence. Now, they try to influence the smaller nation. For example, the Spain. So we all know that we've been colonized by Spaniards for more than 300 years. So Spain is a big country, it's a big nation. So they influence the Philippines. For example, Christianity. Prior to colonization of Spaniards, we already have the government. We already have the religion. So we praise, no? Pre-colonial period, we praise the Bathala. We have the Anito. We are following the pagan or the paganism. So that is why that is example of homogeneity in culture. One superior culture influenced the smaller culture. Okay, another example. Okay, I will give that or I will leave that to you, that question, and try to give your answer in our group chat or in our official chat room. Now let's proceed to media imperialism. So overconcentration of mass media from larger nations as a significant variable, negatively affecting smaller nations, in which the national identity of smaller nations is lessened or lost due to media homogeneity inherent in mass media from the larger countries. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the current news about banning the foreign artists to come over here in the Philippines to the concerts, right? Because we all know no, the domination of the K-pop media here in Asia, specifically in the Philippines. So the Philippine government is somehow what is the other term for that or nababahala, no? Because of these foreign artists, no? We are flooded by foreign artists to have a concert here in the Philippines. With that, because of these larger nations or larger mass media, our local artists, no, or our local arts will lose or lost rather or lessened, no, their identity because we don't patronize their craft. So that is why that is one of the examples of media imperialism. You know, we patronize more the foreign artists rather than our own artists. So we're done with the homogeneity in culture. Let's proceed to heterogeneity in culture. It means or it refers to differences in culture identity related to or for instance class, ethnicity, language, traditions, a religion, sense of place, and many other cultural aspects. So these differences can make it more or less difficult for people to communicate, trust, and cooperate with each other. So in heterogeneity, it means we have differences in culture, in language, in traditions, in religion. For example, in America, let's start with that region. In America or in the western parts of the world, if you hit or meet the age of 18 years old, you will move out from your family, no? But then here in the Philippines or in Asia, no, you still live in with your parents even though you meet the legal age. Then for the language, okay, if I'm a Filipino, I'm going to talk to you in Filipino language. Now, if I have a friend who is an American, therefore he or she will use their language, which is English. Now, if you're going to talk now using our own language, we cannot understand each other. So if we cannot understand each other, therefore there will be a miscommunication. So we will not understand each other. It is because of our differences. It could be in our language, tradition, or religion. Now let's proceed to globalization. So when companies decided to enter foreign markets to expand their business, global forces interact with local factors or a specific geographic area. So in the first place, there is no term for globalization, or there is a few literature that discuss or give definition of globalization. So basically, it talks about a larger markets or larger company who tried to enter a local nation or small nation. For example, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, the Jollibee. So they were established outside the Philippines, no? But here, everywhere you go, no? In Davao City, you will find Coca-Cola, you will find McDonald's, as well as Jollibee. Next is the cultural differentialism. So it involves barriers that prevent flows that serve to make cultures more alike. So cultures remain stubbornly different from one another. Now, if you can still remember our lesson in Asian regionalism, one of the differences between globalization and regionalism is that in globalization, there is an advances of technology. Then on the other hand, in Asian regionalism, it is rarely available. And one of the main reason why is that in regionalism, they don't allow Western products and goods to enter their locality. That this is the same way with the cultural differentialism. It is because, again, they don't allow other culture, no, to influence or to come over uh, in their what do you call that, in their nation or in their locality. So they don't allow, no, foreign cultures to integrate in their own cultures because there is a barriers that prevent them, no, to enter. So that is why if there is no interaction between two different cultures, so it means they are different from one another because in the first place they don't interact. So that is one of the example of cultural differentialism. Now the cultural hybridization. So it is a mixture of cultures and the integration of the global and the local leading in the unique combination. So from the word hybrid, so it means it is a mixture. Talk about culture, it is a mixture of cultures. So example, the Americans and we have the Filipinos. So the Americans talk, they use the language English, and Filipinos we use Filipino language as well. Now, example of it is that the conyo, no? Okay. Uh, let's try. Let's eat now over there, or something like that. So it is a mixture of two different language, no? So then you integrate it in your local lives. I mean, in your local lives. I'm sorry. You integrate it in your daily life. So that is one example of cultural hybridization. Another one is when you eat, no, when you eat during your dinner or your lunch, you cannot eat without a kimchi. Something like that. So kimchi is not uh, it's not from the Philippines. It's from South Korea. So because of this integration of different cultures, so that is why we come up with this unique combination. So that is an example of, or that is why we call it the cultural hybridization. If there is two culture, they mix, then we can create into a unique combinations. Next is the cultural convergence. So it is the theory that cultures will be more and more like each other as their interactions increase. Basically, the more that cultures interact, the more that their values, ideologies, behaviors, arts, and customs will start to reflect each other. So this trend is especially pronounced between cultures that are heavily engaged with each other through communication and transportation technologies, as well as organizational association. So what is an example of cultural convergence? Well, so I have a friend. Her name is Loridel. So Loridel is an American girl, and I am a Filipino. So every time we talk, my friend Loridel, she used the language English. Now, in order for me to understand her, I need to talk to her in English as well. So that is why so that becomes a habit. So I adapt the language, or I adapt the culture of Loridel. That's why when we go outside, so parang hindi na ako parang there is no sign, no, of me as a Filipino, because I changed my accent, I changed my language, as well as since we are best friend, so I tend to adapt also her her fashion. So I tend to color my hair, something like that. For the behavior, since Lauderdale is American girl, she is a liberated one. So therefore, since we are friends, so there is a tendency that I will become also as liberated. For the ideologies, I have a friend. Her name is Pichilin. So Pichilin is a person. She is what an example of, she don't, what do you call that one, she's not into, I mean, she's a frank person. So she don't quote her words every time we talk to each other. So since I am since I am a silent type, so since Michelin is my friend, so every day we talk, so there's a tendency as well that I will become frank, something like that. So again, if there's two different cultures interact with each other, no, so it will be through communication. Time goes by, our culture will start to reflect with each other. Sometimes it will become the same. So what do you think is the disadvantages of that? What is wrong with that, with the cultural convergence? If I'm going to adopt a certain culture, so do you think that there is an advantage or disadvantages of cultural convergence? So the the good side of cultural convergence is that it allows you to grow. It, no? For example, as I've said earlier, Lauderdale is an American girl. She speak to me using the English language. So every time we talk, so I speak to her in English. So that's the time that I will develop my English speaking as well. So that is the positive side of cultural convergence. Now, the disadvantage of cultural convergence is that it will lost my national identity because every time we go, no, I'm going to talk English. So I am not used to speaking in Filipino na kasi nga, I always use the English language. So that's it. Now, my question is, people live in this generation wherein global media and platforms are sprouting everywhere. So like TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. So are there instances in your life that you are influenced by what you saw or heard from these platforms? Again, are there instances in your life that you are influenced by what you saw or heard from these platforms? Okay, so that's the end of our discussion in global media cultures. Now, if you have questions regarding our topic, lesson 10, feel free to drop it in our official Facebook page, or you can utilize the message icon or pictures of the VLE. So that's it. Have a good day, everyone.